and it's recording.
Hi, my name is Jane Schappel. I've been a K-Pets volunteer for several years. I have golden retrievers. I've also been involved with assistance dog work as a volunteer raiser and trainer. And I am going to share some information that I hope will be helpful. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so it's not letting me do that. It says the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Make host. Okay.
Okay, so, all right. All right, so you should be seeing a PowerPoint, and I'm going to share this with you. So we're going to talk a little bit about HeartMath. And HeartMath is a nonprofit educational and research organization that was founded in 1991 by Doc Childrey. It's a set of heart-based techniques and strategies that anyone can use to reduce stress, improve well-being, and manage negative emotions. The techniques are very simple and easy to learn, but they're powerful and effective, and they can be used anytime and anywhere, at work, while shopping, at home, or out with your dog. So I heard about HeartMath about 15 years ago when I was going through a very difficult time in my life. And I found their techniques to be so useful that several years ago, I became a certified HeartMath coach, basically to help other people, especially working with dogs. And HeartMath has taught their techniques to corporations, schools, military, hospitals, police organizations, government organizations, and also Olympic athletes. So there's no better time to learn about HeartMath with the pandemic starting to subside. Most dogs haven't been out on outings for many months. There's new training challenges because of that, and there's more stressful times overall. So most of the dogs have been home a lot more than they had in the past. So have you had an outing or a training session with your dog where the dog was displaying calming signals, or they wouldn't respond to your cues, or it didn't go as planned and you ended up leaving early? HeartMath techniques can help. So they will help increase the likelihood of success in the transition. So when we are upset or nervous, the dogs are aware of it. We've heard that emotions travel down the leash. Well, they not just travel down the leash, they're kind of broadcasted out by us. And when our dogs are stressed, we can help. So using HeartMath techniques before and during training to increase the outcome of that training session, and the team will perform better and it'll strengthen the bond. Oops, I just went back one. Okay. So if your dog feels you are disappointed, frustrated, or annoyed, they will respond to that. They may display calming signals, do something out of character, or not respond to your cues. And these behaviors will happen, they can happen when you're at home or also when you're out on a therapy dog visit or another outing. So you can change the outcome of this situation by changing your emotion from negative to positive. And the first step is heart-focused breathing. And down at the bottom there, I have a note that your dog doesn't need to do the heart-focused breathing to gain the benefit. So that just basically means that if we do it, they will also feel it. So heart-focused breathing is the foundation of all of the techniques. And just by doing it, it calms your nervous system. And to do this, you just basically visualize your breath flowing in and out through the center of your chest. And you breathe a little bit slower and deeper than normal. And you should actually feel a difference, and your dog will too. So that's the key to this. So when you do it, you actually And it's easier sometimes if you use your hand at the beginning to sort of visualize the breath coming in through the center of your chest as you breathe in, and then out through the center of your chest when you breathe out. So if you can try and do that, just breathe in through the center of your chest and out through the center of your chest. And in the beginning, it's a little bit helpful to actually use your hand like that to, kind of visualize the breath. After you do it for a couple of times, or, maybe a week or two, you will just, you won't need your hand, to visualize your breath. You'll just be able to do it. And when you do it right, you will definitely feel a difference, and your dog will too. And with this technique, you want to try and practice this several times a day, because the key to doing it correctly and comfortably, so that you can just sort of do it anytime, when you're out, wherever, and something happens, is by practicing it. And if you can practice doing it when you're with your dog, when you're brushing them, when you're training, when you're just hanging out, it'll just make it a lot easier for you to do when you really need it. So heart math techniques can also help you build resilience. Resilience is the capability to prepare for, recover from, and adapt in the face of stress, challenge, and adversity. And having resilience helps prevent stress accumulation. You can gain better perspective with it. And the last thing on the slide is that physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental domains of resilience overlap. They affect each other. So if we have an altercation with someone, a lot of times after that, we'll feel physically exhausted. And that's because the emotional and the physical domains overlap with each other. And our dogs also have the same, they have the same thing happen. So you may notice sometimes that when you go on an outing with your dog that was, they seem to be really, whether it's positively excited or negatively excited, when they get home, a lot of times they seem really tired. And that's also how this relates to resilience. So we want to try and build our resilience and also build their resilience. So the second technique is called inner ease. And I say it's like keeping your rowboat firmly anchored. So if you're in a rowboat and it's anchored, you're not going to drift away like you would if it wasn't anchored. You're not going to drift too far down the path. So like an anchor, inner ease technique can keep you from drifting away. And as soon as you start to feel a negative emotion, whether it's frustration, anxious, overwhelm, or you notice your dog getting stressed, you can use the inner ease technique. And so, you may notice that your dog is getting stressed at home when you go to clip their nails, or you may notice that they're getting stressed when you're on an outing and something unusual happens, or you're going into a certain place that you see they just, start showing some calming signals. That's a great time to use the inner ease technique. And to do this, you start with that heart focused breathing. So that's you visualize the breath coming in through the center of your chest and out through the center of your chest. And after a few breaths, so you want to do it, you want to keep doing that heart focused breathing several times. My one dog is like right, she's right here right now. So after a few breaths, then you also want to breathe in the feeling of calm or peace or everything's okay. But the key part with this is you really need to feel it, not just think it. So as you're doing the breathing, as you're doing your heart focused breathing, you want to breathe in the feeling of calm, or I like the everything's okay. And I use this a lot, you know, at work. I use it a lot of different times. You're in the grocery store and you're in line and it's moving really slow. This can really help. So it can help you, and it can also help in situations with your dog. And the key thing here is that it's not just helping you when you're out with your dog or when you're at home with your dog and your dog is stressed, could be a thunderstorm or whatever. And it's because you are actually, you know, broadcasting these feelings out, these emotions out. So it actually helps them also. So being able to manage your emotions with the heart math techniques can give you better outcomes from training sessions and outings, build a better bond with your dog. Your dog will be more willing to work through stressful situations. If you can maintain positive emotions, they'll feel more secure and confident, and they'll be more likely to succeed as therapy dogs. So that is pretty much of the slides. I'm going to stop sharing. And if you guys have questions, that would be great. I can answer any questions you might have.
Have you seen it firsthand have a positive effect on your dogs when they were stressed?
Yeah, absolutely. So I use this pretty much with all my dogs, but definitely when I was training assistance dogs and we were out for outings or in different situations, whether it was loud noises that they heard, whether we were out, you know, at a particular store and something happened. So it'll work, you know, like I said, when your dog starts to feel stressed and you see them, you know, giving calming signals, and it'll also work if you start to feel stressed. So if you happen to kind of have some not real positive emotions about going to a certain place and you're taking your dog there for a visit, you really want to practice the techniques and be able to use them so that you're not giving the dog a negative feeling about the visit. And it will help, you know, it'll help the outcome of the visit. So you may notice too that your dog was doing really great when you go out and visits and all of a sudden they're not doing so great. Something could have happened at a visit that you may not have really noticed, or you noticed, but you weren't really sure how to handle it. And that can, you know, that can become a kind of a long-term thing. So these techniques will help with that. I know some people are finding that they're helpful just even when they take their dogs out on walks. If the dog starts to get kind of triggered by something, you know, that doing the techniques will help in that way too. So there's a lot of different uses for them.
It is amazing because my riding instructor is the same thing. And when you're riding a horse, because your body, they sense any change in your body and your muscle. It's always that we use that, always was trained to use that same exact deep breathing, you know, issue, because it relaxes your muscles. And it's the same with the dog, you know, it extends to your hand, to your leash, you know. Yeah, they pick up on that right away.
I was wondering if it made a difference too. You mentioned being on a horse, your body is in physical contact with the horse. Would this technique be even more effective if you were physically touching your dog? It sounds like you don't have to be touching your dog for it to be a benefit, but is there a noticeable, is it noticeably more effective if you are touching your dog at the same time that you're doing these deep breathing techniques?
I've done it both ways. And I mean, if you can, you know, actually put your hands on your dog when you're doing it, as long as they like that, then that's great. I mean, some dogs don't really like, you know, to be touched or whatever. But yeah, if they like that, that's great. I mean, like I mentioned too, like when you're clipping nails, to do it then, and you're, obviously then you're, you're physically touching them. But I mean, if your dog has a really negative reaction to something when you're out, I've gotten down on the floor, at different places with the dog, and, just kind of to work them through things. So yeah, I think that definitely is a positive. Any other questions?
Well, I know I'm going to practice it on Kylie and Zeke. They're just a little more stressed, whereas Cody's kind of like, yeah, whatever. He's really laid back. But the other two, I can see definitely giving that a try with them, because they're a little more sensitive, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, different situations too, they could be fine at, in certain situations and just not so great in others. And if you can practice it when you're at home, just hanging out with your dog, when you're, come on, you can do it now. When you're doing nails or whatever, this is one of mine. Just hanging out with your dog when you're doing training sessions. That's great. That will just make it so much easier than when you do it when you are out on an outing.
Yeah, I think it'll help Zeke. He's older and he's getting a little weird. So if I could just give him something to relax him a little bit, he's just getting a little weird in his old age. So I'm going to try it, it for him.
Yeah, let me know if it helps, because I know I had, I've been doing this with Phoenix assistance dogs too. That's who I volunteer with. And, the people who have given me feedback, it's all been positive, and it's been in different kinds of situations. It's been, the one was when the dog was out for walks, and the dog was getting stressed about other dogs or whatever. And then, sometimes it's when they're out at a store, obviously we have public access with the service dogs. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, it's just a great tool, and so simple and so easy, and you don't need to do anything special. Like, nobody knows you're doing it, because you don't have, by the time you're doing it out in public or whatever, you don't have to be using the hand thing. And honestly, you want to get comfortable doing it so that you can just kind of keep your rowboat anchored, so that you don't start drifting away, or your dog doesn't start drifting away while you're out. And I have heard the same thing too about horses. Somebody else had said that to me on a presentation I did about how sensitive they are to your emotions. Yeah.
Especially if all of a sudden you hear a loud noise, or you see a bag blowing out in front of you or something, your instinct, which is the same way your instinct with a dog. I mean, sometimes we're the ones that respond unknowingly, and then they sense that. And so it's knowing that technique, to be able to breathe, get that deep breathing, filters down. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know when I saw the article about the nursing homes and that kind of thing, I was thinking to myself, is that our emotions about being in nursing homes and hospitals that's, kind of going over to the dog too? I mean, I know there's, I've taken enough dogs to hospitals and nursing homes to know that there's all kinds of weird things, and, that they're not used to. But at the same time, I wonder if part of it isn't our own, emotions that come out that makes the dog respond like that. So those are really great times to, try the techniques and see if it makes a difference or not.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm definitely gonna try it. I have a dog who's nervous about certain situations.
Mhm.
And today I had to take her to the vet to follow up on, she had a fatty tumor removed. And I
Mhm.
didn't think the incision was healing quite right. So I took her to the vet just to have it checked. It's fine. And it wasn't cancer, it was just fatty tumor. But she's so nervous at the vet. I mean, she visibly shakes.
Mm.
And,
Yeah.
so I was petting her and trying to do, the calming techniques that have worked in other situations, but I will give this one a try too.
Yeah, great. I'd like feedback, and if you guys think it is helpful, and you want to share it, with other K-Pets teams, that would be great.
How would you like us to share it with other teams? Do you have any, just posting the Zoom, or would you rather that we referred people to you?
I'm going
As
to
a
stop
presentation.
recording.
Mhm.
I'm going to stop recording. Uh-oh. I wasn't recording.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was.
It was.
Okay.
I see
All
it.
right.
I can stop it on here.